Hi. So this is Sierra. Hey y'all, it's Sierra, and today I'm going to be talking about how do you tell someone that you have multiple sclerosis. So I just wanted to say that I have my baby here with me, Jack. This is Jack, y'all. Say hey, baby. I'm gonna put him down. Put you down, little boy. Good boy. So this topic is very important. Look, he jumped up here, back up here. This topic is very important. This topic is very important because it sets the tone for how you're going to deal with living with MS. It sets the tone. It sets the foundation. How do you tell someone I have multiple sclerosis? I can't lie. It can be very difficult because when you're first diagnosed, you're really still trying to figure out what the disease is. What is multiple sclerosis? It can be difficult even starting that conversation. Because let me tell y'all, this is for people who don't have MS. When you hear that somebody was diagnosed with MS, or somebody has just told you they was diagnosed with MS, I'm sure a lot of thoughts are going through your mind. But really, that person is thinking with MS, I'm sure, maybe not all the time, but I'm sure most times they're probably thinking more about how their quality of life is going to be and the treatment other than your reaction. The reactions, depending on who gives you the reactions and how they interact, it can be hurtful, or it can be just like, hey, okay, I understand, or it can be very sorrowful, but I'll get into those later. So I do want to break it down into category. How do you tell your loved one that you have MS? So when I was diagnosed with MS, my sister and my mother, they are in the medical field. So they was kind of suspecting it, that it might have been some type of neurological disorder, possibly MS. When I found out, I was with my mother, and of course the doctor told me, call, just let me know. And it was to a point I didn't want to even tell my sister. And it was just what was happening and going on in her life at the time. I just didn't want to bring that burden on her. Like, oh my God, I have to deal with a sick sibling. I have to take care of my sick sibling. And I just didn't want to bring that on her and put her in that caregiver role, because I'm like, she has so much going on for herself. I didn't want to be a distraction. And of course, my dad, he was going to find out anyway, because I, lived with my parents at the time, and he was going to find out anyway. So I was expecting him to know, because when I took the MRI, I told him, I said, okay, Dad, I'll probably know within a couple of weeks what's going on with me. He said, okay. So it wasn't that difficult telling my dad, but it was difficult telling my sister. I couldn't tell my sister. My mother told my sister, and she ended up talking to me on the phone. And it was more, her reaction, of course, was shock. But it was like, okay, I figured it was something like MS. Because she already knew, because she had that health background. And wow, I had a moment. Y'all, because I thought about that day and how difficult it was for me. But hey, everything is fine. That day, it was really difficult. The day that I had to tell my immediate family. but I knew they were supportive of me, so I was okay with that. Of course, my extended family ended up finding out, and at that time, I wasn't really, at that time, I was still trying to figure out what treatment I would be on, so I would have preferred to let them know at a later time. But my dad, he ended up, telling the immediate family, well, my extended family. And I would say at first I was slightly upset because I'm like, it was to the point where I had just got it confirmed and I haven't even started treatment. So I would have liked for it to been held off until I learn more about what the disease is and what it caused. But at that point, it was what it was. If you're trying to figure out, how do I tell my family members about MS? I would say this: find somebody in your family, okay, who you feel like you can trust. Now, if it's not a parent, if it's not your spouse, if it's not anybody like that, and of course, they have to be of age, 18 or at least maturity, to a point where they're mature enough to kind of understand it. But it can be difficult telling anybody that you have MS. Nobody wants to tell somebody, hey, I'm sick. I just got diagnosed with this incurable disease. And incurable disease. It can be really tough. It can be really hard. But I would say the first steps is telling your family is make sure that you tell somebody, if you do have family or you have a friend or associate, make sure you tell somebody who genuinely has some type of respect or care for you and is sincere. And it doesn't have to be perfect. If they say, what is MS? Some people may be able to give them a dictionary, explanation of it. But I would say, honestly, the first time or first few times you start telling people, hey, I have MS, it may be a crying fest. Or it may just be a thing where it's just like, yeah, I have this and I still have to find out more about it. So I don't know. This is what it is. I know it's a neurological disorder, a neurological disease. I know it's I know it's a brain disorder. I'm going to explain a little bit what MS is. MS can kind of be difficult to explain to somebody. MS, multiple sclerosis, is a neurological disorder. The protective coating over the nerves is attacked by MS, which causes the coating to come off the nerves, which in result causes the body to react to it. And really it depends on where the lesion is located, whether it's on your brain or whether it's on your spinal cord, depending on the symptoms. Then I would tell somebody it depends on the size of it, how many lesions you have. And MS is different from people. There's certain people who have MS and they only have a little spark they only have a little issue with their pinky. It's some people like me, I have the relapsing remitting stage of MS. I have bladder problems. I have mobility issues. I have headaches. I have muscle spasms. I have plasticity in both my legs and my arms. And I had swallowing difficulties. So really, it can be a little bit of everything. And then you have other people who maybe are in the progressive stage. They're in a wheelchair. They're not as mobile. They may need assistance with a cane. Keep it simple, because they can look it up on Google. You know, let's be honest. They can look it up on Google. There's a lot of great videos on YouTube. They can look it up through the National Multiple Sclerosis Society and look it up like that. So I definitely encourage you to find out about MS. But when somebody tells you that they have MS, don't expect them to go into a long explanation on what it is, because just know their symptoms are different for everybody and people's definition may be different. It just depends on how that person is feeling that day, and they may not want to get into it. So if they don't want to get into it as far as the explanation, just understand that they're still in a point where they're still processing what the disease is, and probably coping with them having the disease and them not knowing how their quality of life is going to be. Telling your friends you have MS. Fortunately for me, the friend that I told, she was a very spiritual person. She was very understanding. She was quiet and she allowed me to cry, but she was willing to pray for me. So that friend, she know who she was, and I'm telling you, I really appreciate you listening to me and not judging me. Because I told her, I said, oh, I have 3 lesions on my brain, and I was crying my eyes out. And I happened to tell my friend a month after I was diagnosed. So I was diagnosed April 2016. I ended up telling her in May. And I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. So thank you so much, because it made a difference in me telling other people. But also, y'all know I'm a spiritual person, so I had to pray about it. I said, Lord, I need for you to help me to reveal it to people, because it was killing me, y'all. I feel a sense of helplessness. And I'm the type of person, I try to be as genuine and authentic as I can be, because that's just how I was raised. But it was difficult because I was so consumed with people judging me. So once I told that friend, I started getting more courage and confidence. Of course, I started praying more. And I started seeing people from school who I graduated with in grad school. I told this lady, it was so nice. She was understanding. She said, okay. I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, let me know if there's anything that I can do for you. My friend, she said that as well. And I'm telling you, I felt so relieved doing that. And I just felt confident. I was feeling confident. So I'm like, let me keep this thing going. And guess what? Slowly but surely, God started sending people my way at the time that had the right temperament. At the time I wasn't working either, so I felt free as a bird. I'm just like, okay, I can, tell people. But when 2018 hit, I really felt a sense of that I had to get it off my chest. My 10-year class reunion was coming up, and I said, okay, I need to go ahead and start letting people know. So I seen a few more people before then, and I ended up telling them, and told this one guy, he's like, hold on, what is MS? And I was so embarrassed because I couldn't really explain it at the time, because I was still processing and I was still coping. Like, what is MS? But he was really nice about it. And when I got to the class reunion, what I ended up doing, my class reunion was in October 2018. I decided to come out with my video, I think it was August or September, my testimony video of my healing in 2000, a couple of months before then. So I figured that people was talking anyway, right? So I just went up to people, and this one guy, he was very shocked. I said, I have MS and I've been doing good. And I told him, I said, hey, I wasn't able to walk or eat, but God is so good to me. And, I did have lesions on my brain, but I'm doing much better now. He was just shocked. His mouth was like, and he still didn't know what to say. So I kind of had to let him process a little bit. And I talked to the next classmate, because I'm like, listen, I was more at that point, and see, with my maturity, my spiritual maturity at the time, I'm just like, I need to tell somebody what God did for me. I used it more as a testimony. So that's how I looked at it. But before You know, God allowed me to tell a few people. I was hiding for years, y'all, and I felt terrible. Hiding from telling friends and associates and all this stuff. And it drove me crazy. But after that, I just got over it, because I said, you know what? It's not the fact that people don't care. It's the point that people don't know what to say. Shoot, I wouldn't know what to say either. People just don't know what to say. They're fearful. They're afraid. And let's be honest, sometimes people feel like they might have to do something for you. And nobody wants to uproot their life for somebody. For most people. Me personally, I'm the type of person, I don't mind doing what I can do for a person, but I will let them know my limitations. Like, look, you know, I'm not going to be able to do it this time, but I can help you, you know, let's figure out a plan. That's the type of person I am. But yeah, most people, they're not going to want to uproot their life. And it's, so you got to understand that. But also too, on the flip side, you have to understand everybody who tells you they have MS doesn't want anything from you. They just might want to just to tell you. So you have to be cautious of, you know, you have to be cautious in your reaction to it. I've always been a believer. You always do what you can for people, even your enemies. And I know, Lord knows, my mother, she's still teaching me that. And I'm telling y'all, and I'm 30 years old. And some people I want to give the deuces to. And the other thing too, you know what I'm saying? But I can't, because it's wrong. Of course, you know, I'm trying to live in, you know, a saved life, and it's difficult. But you do what you can for people. And when they need a helping hand, you definitely do what you can for them. Even if you don't want to. God help me. Okay, y'all. So, employers. This is my favorite part. How do you tell employers that you have a chronic illness? Now, when I was getting ready to start working again and getting in the work field, I met this wonderful lady. She's amazing. But she's just going back to school to get her PhD. She was already a licensed professional counselor. I think she was an associate, but she was working on full licensures. Either she might have been a full LPC, I don't know. But I met her at the MS conference, and she was absolutely amazing. She did this for free, y'all. She helped me get my resume together. She helped me just get my confidence together and just to go for a job. And when I went on my job interviews, I said, you know, I was out of work for a few years because I felt like at the time it was appropriate for me to prioritize my health so I can get my health order so I can be the best person at my job. And I think I said something like, you know, I had a medical condition which required treatment. And at the time, I was not able to work. And I feel like in order to best service the company or the employer, I feel like it was best for me just to take time for myself to get myself together. That's the easiest way to do it. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a good explanation. And sometimes it happens. Look, you need to take time out for yourself. If you have something like MS and how MS hit me hard, you need some time off of, you know, out of work. But I thank God I had a supportive family. It made all the difference. And my healthcare team was excellent. So I'm like, thank you, Lord, for that. But to make a long story short, when you choose a career or a job, make sure, first of all, that you will be able to work that job. But choose a job that you have a passion for, a job that you are thriving in. Use your transferable skills to thrive in it. So I encourage you to do the same thing. And if a job doesn't work, or if they don't want to accept or make accommodations for you, and that's what I meant to say, filling out the thing for accommodations. But if they don't want to make accommodations for you, then move on and just know that God has better for you. Co-workers. So you definitely don't want to tell all the co-workers. I know when I was working my job, I told a few for the ones that I know were working with me the most. So if they notice that I'm a little off or my walking or something, then they will kind of be like, I know you have this going on. How can I assist you? How can I help you? But definitely be selective on who you tell at the job. People talk, and you don't want it to become a thing where they're just trying to look at everything that you do. You are telling them more for them to know, and also for them to be an ally with you, for them to, help you along the way if that was ever needed. But just be careful who you tell. How do you tell somebody who you're dating, or somebody who you're dating or you're interested in, that you have MS? There's no good way to tell somebody that, okay? There's not. You can't set the mood, little candles and stuff. Woo. No. Because either way, that person's going to be like, what? Or they're going to be afraid, and they might even cry, or they may not say nothing at all. It may be awkward silence. I'm a believer like this. You have to get to the point where you have to be okay with you. Okay? Like I was saying in my other videos, you have to be confident in who you are. Know who you are. Know what you bring to the table. And be like, I'll be straight up with it, because that's why I'm putting myself out there like that out here now. I know eventually I'm gonna date. I'm gonna get married. I'm not doing that right now, because my focus is my focus right now is being my best self. And I can't be my best self if I'm busy focusing on somebody else other than myself. Just not gonna happen. I don't want no distractions. Nothing wrong with people who do that. But I know for me, in point of my life, I am too busy trying to do things for myself and help people and inspire people and push people. So that requires focus, and I need to be focused. But getting back to what I was saying, it's never really a good time. But I will say this. I'm the type of person, I don't believe in not telling somebody, because you don't know if that's going to backfire. You don't know if that person is going to be there for you or not, or support you. Because I've known some people, they told people that, and they have skedaddled because they were so afraid they was going to have to do something for that person. And that's really the wrong attitude to have. But if that person was to reject you, then just know it's okay. It's not the end of the world, and you can move on from it, okay? You can definitely move on from it. Don't get discouraged if you have somebody that has a negative reaction. There's other fish in the sea. But I will say, when you tell that person that, be ready to answer a few questions as far as what it is, what particular symptoms you have, because I told you everybody's symptoms is different, to see if that person is willing to tolerate or deal with those symptoms or help you through those symptoms. Okay? Just do that, and just know if it's positive, if it's a negative, either way, you will be fine. Okay? Like my shirt says, like positive vibes. We in a positive vibe mindset. And listen, if you accept yourself, and like I told you in the other video, confidence video, if you accept yourself, and if you clap for yourself, and if you are for yourself, then that's all you need to be. I'm for myself. Yes, my name is Sierra. I was diagnosed with relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis. This is what's going on. This is how I'm thriving. This is how I'm moving on. And not only that, y'all can't lie. I got to speak to y'all. If y'all are like, oh, okay, MS, don't nobody want to see that. Because they probably figure that they're going to have to do something for you. Listen, you need to say, listen, I have MS. I'm doing the best I can do. I'm going to reach out to my resources, and I'm going to move forward. Now, that reaction will probably get you more like, oh, okay. And even if it doesn't, who gives a damn? Like, bye. If you don't want to deal with it, bye. If you want to deal with it, hey. But either way, you have to be okay with yourself. Okay, how do you tell the rest of your family members? Now, for me, my dad had already told. So it was a thing where I had family members, when I seen them out, oh, looking at my legs. Oh, I see that you're walking, you're doing good. And I'm just like, oh, I'm just like, thank you, but I was a little annoyed because, they knew at the time I was having difficulty walking. But I was thinking to myself, okay, they may be looking at my legs, but God to be the glory, my legs are walking. And that's what they're going to do. And I'm glad that they can see that, and they can see I was doing well and speaking positive, because that's what, people need to see. If you have to tell your family members, I would just say do it based off of who you trust. Do it based off of the relationship. If y'all have a tight-knit relationship, or, loose knit, just you have to decide when it's time. But just know when it's out there, it's out there. So you have to understand, once you tell people that you have MS or a chronic illness, you have to expect hearing people chatter and stuff. But you have to not care about that, because that's why you got to connect with people, okay? And not everybody who has MS you're going to connect with. I know some people I thought I would connect with. I'm like, oh, you have MS, let's be friends. It don't work like that. Just because they have MS doesn't mean that they're going to be your friend or another chronic, or it doesn't mean y'all going to click. So just know that as well. And it's okay if y'all don't. But getting back to the family, it's just like you got to do it based off of who you feel comfortable with telling. That's all. That's all I have to say. Whoever you feel comfortable in telling, people hear through the grapevine, if you feel comfortable in going into it, then go into it. I know for me, I didn't really go into it, but they knew the pretty general of what was happening as far as my symptoms and how the lesions on my brain were doing, which they were doing good, to God be the glory. So tell people at your own time. How to tell a child. It can be when you tell your baby, because I don't have any babies yet, but I can't imagine how that conversation is going to be. I wouldn't know how to tell a parent how to tell their child. But of course, you can't tell them about all this and all that, but you can say, well, mommy or daddy, I have something going on, or your niece and nephew or whoever, I have something that I may not always feel good. And some days I may I may sleep more, or I may have to use the bathroom a little bit, or you may see me times where I'm in some pain, or I have a boo-boo, or I just hurt. But just tell them things like that. However you explain it to your, a child, depends on their age. Or be like, hey, I may have days I may not feel that good. This is what mama has to do. This is what daddy has to do. My medication, I have to take medication every few months or every day. Or I have to get infusions in my veins to make me feel better. I have to get my power juice. If you're getting, the IV MS medications, I have to get my power juice to feel better. There's just different ways, creative ways you can tell your kids, or tell your children, or tell children, look, hey, kids, this is what's going on. Even if it's not your child, if you're a teacher, or if you're in a profession where you work with kids and you're a teacher, not everybody will tell their condition, but some people do. A sibling. If you're in a situation like me where my mother had to tell my sibling, or when you tell a sibling, just be as real as you can be, and be like, you know what? I don't know about this. I'm feeling afraid. I'm feeling scared. Use all those adjectives, y'all, because you're going to need it. You're going to need to use it. You're going to need to express how you feel. It promotes happiness. It promotes positive thinking. It promotes freedom. And it also sometimes even just lets you know that, hey, when you do say those things, that, what, I do need to reach out to resources. I may need to talk to a therapist, talk to God about this, get on my knees and pray. I may have to talk to my loved one about this. I may have to talk to my boss about this. It just depends, y'all. But when it comes to the sibling, you definitely want to just be as real as you can with them and tell them, you know, sis, you know, brother, I don't know about this, or you say, I may be positive about it. I'm going to get through it. Either way, just be real and be open and honest. I'm sure you will find out your own style of telling people about your MS diagnosis. Don't feel rushed, but also don't hold it in too much. Don't hold it in too long. You want freedom. You want a peace of mind. Free yourself from that. And know that you will be a conqueror no matter what, even if you're in the progressive stage. You know, my mother always told me, she said, you know, Sierra, and these are for the ones who are not doing too good. She was like, when people have cancer and they have things like MS, it may be progressive and they don't make it. She said, I don't look at it in a thing where they lost their battle to MS, to cancer, to lung disease. But she said if they knew God, I see it as a thing where they have won. They have won. They were healed, but they were healed through death. And they don't have to deal with it anymore. And I said, Mom, that's a positive way to look at it. But y'all, let's have these positive vibes. Let's have these positive vibes going on. Don't hide your story, because you don't know who is going to bless. You don't know who is going to inspire, who is going to touch. It may take a little time for you to tell people. But just make sure when you tell people, you give a great story. You tell them how you keep on going on, how you're motivated. You may have some days where you're feeling like Eeyore, you know. And it's like, ooh, a little thing for Winnie the Pooh, the little donkey. But for the most part, stay positive as you can, because it's going to further help you in your treatment phase. And it's just going to make you feel overall better. So this video was just to tell my story a little bit on how I told people I have MS, but also just to give some advice on how you can start off telling people about your MS diagnosis. And again, kind of have a general understanding of what MS is, what your symptoms are. Start from there. If not, look it up. Write it on a cue card so you have a general answer to give, especially if you don't want to get into it. And be honest, like, hey, I don't know where it comes from. Scientists haven't proven it yet, but I know that I do have it, and I know I am affected by it. Also, too, make sure you're telling somebody that you trust, a friend, a loved one. And then eventually, when you get more comfortable with it, when you get your supports, when you get your treatment, eventually telling other people as well. It has to be at your time. If you happen to work a job and you know that job requires a lot of strenuous work, you may have to choose another type of job. You may just have to go into another type of field. Definitely gonna have to eventually tell somebody at your job. Somebody need to know. You telling somebody who you're dating, y'all just started dating, okay, yeah, if y'all been in it for a little bit, definitely need to tell them. Is this something that they can deal with? If not, then don't waste your time. Telling your family members, of course, telling the ones that you have like a active relationship with. And if you happen to see somebody, a family member out and about, just go ahead and tell them. You don't have to go into detail with it. Telling a child, when you tell children certain things, you have to give it in a way that they will understand it. Children at different levels. Teenagers giving it at different levels. Young adults giving it at different levels. You have older parents giving it to them on a level that they will understand. Telling your siblings. I know that one was tough for me because I didn't want my sibling to look at me as a burden. But she's been very supportive and she's been very good. And I'm thankful for her. And I do love her. And you tell your own way in your own time. I want you to remember that, okay? Tell people in your own time, in your own way. Do not be ashamed. Don't be ashamed, okay? Well, that is the end of this video. And I hope you all got something really good from it. Share stories with me. How did you tell? And who was difficult for you to tell about your diagnosis, your MS diagnosis, or any other chronic illness at that. I'm going to sign off. Like, comment, subscribe, share, click the notification bell so you can know when I post videos. I'm definitely going to be posting videos more often because I look forward to connecting with people and sharing my story and being a resource for people. And little baby, he's in my lap. Say bye-bye. Sleepy. Yeah, but this is my baby Jack. Say bye-bye, Jack. Ooh. Okay, bye. Bye, y'all.